The corridors of the alien citadel glowed with a soft, pulsating light, alive like the veins of a giant creature. Human soldier, Eli crosswalked slowly, his boots echoing against the crystal floors. He had been separated from his unit after the plasma storm hit the battlefield, and had taken shelter in what looked like a ruined alien temple. But as he ventured deeper, he realized this was no ruin. It was alive. Strange whispers followed him like the air itself was speaking. Every surface shimmered with energy, forming shapes that almost looked like faces watching him silently. Eli's armor sensors kept glitching, flashing warnings in red. He had no idea where he was or who might be watching him. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a vast chamber. It was circular, surrounded by towering crystal columns that hummed softly. At the center, there was a pool of glowing blue liquid, smooth like glass but rippling faintly. The air smelled sweet, intoxicating. His instincts told him to leave. But curiosity, a dangerous human trait, pushed him forward. "Just a quick scan," he whispered, raising his wrist module. The light from his scanner flickered over the pool. Symbols began to appear on the surface, glowing runes in an alien language. Eli leaned closer, trying to record the pattern. Then, without warning, the liquid moved. It reached up like a living thing and touched his glove. Whoa, what the? He tried to pull back, but his hand sank deeper like the pool was swallowing him. His heart pounded. The liquid clung to his arm, crawling up, and before he could react, a surge of warmth rushed through his body. His vision blurred. He felt dizzy, his mind swimming in light and whispers. Then came the voice. Insolent human. The voice was everywhere, inside his head, in the air, even vibrating in his chest. It was feminine but powerful, like a storm wearing a woman's tone. "You dare enter the sacred womb of the matriarch chamber?" Eli stumbled back, but the liquid held his arm tight. "Hey, I didn't know what this was," he shouted, panic rising. The voice thundered again. "You have defiled what no male of any species is allowed to touch." And then she appeared. From the center of the pool, a form began to rise. The glowing liquid shaped itself into a tall, slender figure with smooth violet skin, eyes like molten silver, and flowing strands of bioluminescent hair that floated around her like silk in water. Her expression was fierce, her gaze locked on Eli as if she could burn through his armor. She was the mistress of the matriarch chamber, ruler of the Etherian brood, a species known for their psychic power and strict biological codes. To touch their sacred birthing chamber was considered the highest violation. Eli froze. "Look, I'm sorry. I was lost. I didn't know this was sacred. I thought it was just some kind of tech." Her eyes flashed brighter. "Tech? You call the womb of creation a machine?" Her voice turned sharp, almost trembling with rage. "You entered the wrong orifice, human. One that only the chosen may enter. You've defiled it with your crude essence." Eli didn't even understand what she meant, but the tone made him sweat. The chamber trembled. Energy crackled along the walls. The columns pulsed faster, like a heartbeat. He raised his hand slowly. "Please, I didn't come here to fight. I'm not your enemy." The mistress tilted her head, studying him like a scientist inspecting a strange creature. "You speak with fear, yet not with lies," she said softly, her anger dimming into curiosity. "Strange. Your presence does not poison the womb as I expected." Eli blinked. "Poison? What do you mean?" She stepped closer, her feet not touching the ground. "No off-worlder has ever set foot here and lived. Yet you stand, and the chamber accepts you. That is impossible." The pool beneath her began to glow brighter, responding to her emotions. "Who are you, human? What are you made of?" Eli swallowed hard. "Just a soldier. From Earth. Lost and trying to survive." Her expression changed again, this time unreadable. She circled him slowly, her gaze inspecting his every movement. He could feel her energy brushing against his skin like invisible fingers. "Your kind destroyed what they could not understand," she murmured. "And yet, you reach for life in the middle of war." He didn't reply. The room's temperature rose, the lights pulsing faster. His heart raced. He wasn't sure if he was about to be killed or something else entirely. Then she stopped in front of him, close enough for him to feel the warmth of her aura. "Perhaps," she said quietly, "the chamber called you for a reason." Eli frowned. "Called me?" She nodded. "The womb does not choose by accident. If it accepted your touch, then it sees something inside you, something even I cannot yet see." Her tone softened, but her eyes remained fierce. "You will not leave, human, not yet. The chamber will decide your fate. Before Eli could protest, the floor beneath him shimmered. The pool's liquid surged upward, wrapping around him completely. His lungs burned. Then everything went black. The last thing he heard before losing consciousness was her voice, echoing like a command of destiny. "Let us see what the human truly is." Eli awoke to silence. A soft blue light glowed above him and the air felt thick, almost liquid. He blinked several times before realizing he was floating. His body was suspended in a transparent cocoon, filled with some kind of shimmering gel. When he tried to move, faint ripples spread through it like waves of light. His armor was gone. Only a faint energy cloth covered his body. He looked around and saw he was inside a round chamber, alive, breathing and pulsing faintly like the inside of a giant creature. Strange tendrils moved across the walls, glowing with veins of purple energy. Then he heard her voice again. "So, the human breathes." It was soft this time, almost curious, echoing in his mind and the air at once. Eli turned his head and saw her, the mistress, standing just beyond the translucent wall of the cocoon. Her eyes gleamed like polished silver. She was no longer made of liquid light. She was solid now, real, her skin glowing faintly beneath elegant alien robes that shimmered like moving stars. Eli's voice came out hoarse. "What did you do to me?" The mistress stepped closer. "I preserved you," she said. "The chamber wanted to study you. You were dying when it wrapped you. The human body is fragile." He frowned. "You mean you saved me?" She tilted her head. "No, it did. I only watched." Her voice carried a faint edge of pride and confusion at once. "You should have been dissolved within seconds. Yet the womb accepted you." Eli tried to push himself up, but the cocoon resisted, humming softly. "You keep saying that accepted me. What does that even mean?" Her eyes narrowed slightly. "The matriarch chamber chooses only those worthy of creation. It nourishes, heals, and reads the essence of life. For countless cycles, no outsider has survived its touch. Even our own kind perish if they are impure. But you did not burn. You became part of it for a moment." Eli felt a chill crawl down his spine. "Part of it, you mean? It linked with me?" The mistress nodded slowly. "It read you, human, and it spoke to me in ways it never has before." He stared at her. "And what did it say?" Her lips curved slightly. Though it wasn't a smile, it was something between awe and disbelief. "It said he carries the seed of balance." Eli blinked. "Seed of what now?" "Balance," she repeated. "Between life and destruction. Between flesh and steel. Between creation and extinction." He let out a small, nervous laugh. "Yeah, that sounds crazy." Her gaze turned sharp. "You mock what you don't understand. But the chamber never lies. You may be the first of your kind who can touch the origin of life without corrupting it." He met her eyes through the glowing barrier. "Then what do you plan to do with me?" She didn't answer right away. The silence stretched long. Then slowly she reached out and touched the surface of the cocoon. The gel responded instantly, rippling outward and dissolving like mist. Eli fell forward, coughing as he landed on the smooth living floor. Before he could recover, she extended her hand. "Stand, human." He hesitated, then took it. Her touch was warm, warmer than any human skin, and when their palms met, a faint light glowed between them. It pulsed once, softly, like a heartbeat shared by two beings who weren't supposed to meet. "What is this place, really?" he asked quietly. "The heart of our species," she said. "This is where every Etherian is born, where the matriarch consciousness resides. You stand in the place no male, no outsider has ever entered and lived to speak of. Then why not kill me? Why keep me alive?" Her eyes shimmered. "Because the chamber has chosen to keep you. It wishes to learn from you, and so must I." Eli's instincts screamed danger. "And if I refuse?" She smiled faintly. "Refuse? You forget where you stand. The womb watches everything. It knows your pulse, your breath, your fear. There is no refusal inside a living God." That word, God, sent a cold shock through him. "You worship this thing?" Her gaze softened. "We are this thing. The Etherian are its children. Every thought, every birth, every dream comes from it. And now, perhaps even you." Eli took a step back. "I'm not your experiment." Her silver eyes glowed brighter. "No. You are the anomaly that should not exist." The walls around them pulsed in rhythm with her words. The floor beneath Eli's feet vibrated. For a second he thought the whole chamber was alive and listening. Then something strange happened. The lights dimmed. A deep hum filled the air, low and heavy like the beating of a heart the size of a planet. The mistress turned, surprised. "No, it's awakening again. What's happening?" Eli asked, shielding his eyes. "The chamber is speaking,"
she whispered, her voice trembling. But this time, not to me. Before Eli could react, the walls began to glow with swirling symbols, millions of them. They danced like living fire, surrounding him in a storm of light. His vision blurred again, and he heard a voice deep inside his head, one not his own. "You are the bridge between what is broken." He gasped, dropping to his knees. The mistress stared in disbelief. "It speaks to you directly." Then the light vanished. The chamber went silent once more. Eli breathed hard, sweat dripping from his temple. What did it just do to me?" The mistress looked at him with wide, shining eyes. "It didn't do something to you, human. It did something through you." He looked up at her, confused and afraid. "And what does that mean?" She stepped closer, whispering as if afraid the walls might hear. "It means," she said slowly, "that you may not be here by accident. You may be the one thing this galaxy hasn't seen in 1,000 cycles." She paused, her gaze locking onto his, a human chosen by the womb itself. Eli sat silently on the glowing floor, staring at his trembling hands. The last few minutes had shattered everything he believed about the universe. The chamber, a living entity, had spoken to him. Not through sound, but through his soul. And that terrified him. The mistress stood a few feet away, her expression unreadable. The silver in her eyes shimmered with faint light as she observed him, like a scientist watching a fragile experiment. "You still breathe," she said quietly, almost to herself. "And the chamber does not reject you. Strange. Even I can feel its calm." Eli looked up, his voice rough. "What does it want from me?" She stepped closer, her robes whispering against the living floor. "It does not want. It tests. The chamber has been silent for centuries. Entire generations were born and died without hearing its call. But since your arrival, it stirs again. That means something." He frowned. "And you plan to find out how?" "Yes," she said simply. "And you will help me." Eli stood, shaking his head. "I'm done being anyone's experiment." Her expression hardened. "Do not mistake this for choice, human. The womb has already claimed you. If it wished you dead, your body would have dissolved into its essence hours ago." He met her gaze stubbornly. "Then maybe it sees something in me that you don't." Her lips twitched, half a smirk, half curiosity. "Perhaps. Let us see what that is." She turned and motioned for him to follow. The wall behind her opened soundlessly, revealing a long, spiraling tunnel filled with pulsing blue veins. The air buzzed faintly, charged with energy that prickled Eli's skin. Reluctantly, he followed. The tunnel led them to another chamber, smaller but filled with floating orbs of light that moved like slow fireflies. In the center stood a column of transparent energy, humming softly, filled with swirling patterns that looked like galaxies trapped in liquid form. "What is this place?" Eli asked. "The chamber's heart link," she said. "It connects every Etherian mind born within these walls. It is our memory, our blood, and our history." She walked toward the column, her hands raised in reverence. Normally, no outsider could touch it. "But you." She turned, eyes narrowing. "You might." Eli hesitated. "And if I do?" "The womb will show what it sees in you. Or it will destroy you. There is no middle path." He gave a dry laugh. "Great, sounds safe." Ignoring him, she gestured toward the column. "Place your hand upon it, slowly." Eli stared at the swirling lights for a moment. The energy pulsed like it was breathing. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward and pressed his palm against the surface. Instantly, the column reacted. A blinding white light burst out, and the air shook with power. The orbs around them flared like stars. Eli gasped as waves of energy shot through his body, racing through every nerve. He tried to pull back, but his hand was locked to the column as if glued by invisible force. "Eli!" The mistress' voice broke through the hum. "Do not resist. Let it read you." "I'm not resisting," he shouted. "It's burning." Before he could finish, everything around him vanished. He was no longer in the chamber. He stood on a battlefield. Human soldiers screamed. Alien ships burned in the red sky. Explosions thundered in every direction. He could smell smoke, blood, and ozone. It was chaos, his chaos. He saw himself, Eli Cross, kneeling beside a wounded alien child, shielding her from falling debris. Her violet eyes looked just like the mistress's. He remembered that moment. It was his first encounter with the Aetherian race. He had saved the child, only to be captured days later. But now, the vision changed. The child grew older, her face shifting, becoming the mistress herself. Eli gasped. "No! That can't be." The scene dissolved, replaced by a vision of the matriarch chamber rising from the ground like a living planet. Its voice filled the void. "The human carries the light of ruin and redemption." Then the battlefield turned into a sea of light. Billions of stars flickered before his eyes, forming patterns that moved like DNA strands. The voice spoke again. "Two species will die, or both will be reborn. Balance must choose a carrier." Eli fell to his knees, screaming. The visions disappeared. He was back in the chamber, breathing hard, drenched in sweat. His hands slipped from the column. The mistress rushed forward, catching him before he collapsed. "What did you see?" He struggled to speak. "War, destruction. And you?" Her brows furrowed. "Me?" He nodded weakly. "You were there." And the chamber said something about balance. That two species will either die or be reborn. The mistress stepped back, her face pale with realization. "The prophecy," she whispered. "Our elders spoke of a time when the womb would merge two bloodlines to save creation itself." She looked at him as if seeing him for the first time, not as an intruder, but as something far more dangerous. "If that is true, then you are not just an accident human. You are the signal." Eli looked up at her. "Signal for what?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "For the rebirth or the end of both our kinds." They stared at each other in silence, the chamber's pulse echoing like a distant heartbeat between them. Then, faintly, the walls began to vibrate again, low and rhythmic, almost like a warning. The mistress turned toward the sound, her face tightening. "No, this is too soon. The Guardians have sensed it." Eli frowned. "Guardians?" "The protectors of the womb," she said quickly. "They will not understand. To them, you are a corruption, a threat to everything sacred." She looked back at him with urgency. "We must leave this chamber before they arrive." Eli took a step closer. "Leave? You said no one leaves this place alive." Her eyes blazed silver. "Until today. You've changed the rules." The ground trembled again. From far down the tunnel, Eli could hear faint echoes, heavy footsteps, mechanical and inhuman. The mistress grabbed his arm, her grip strong. "Run, human," she said. "If they reach us, not even the womb will save you." And together, they disappeared into the glowing tunnels. As the heart of the living chamber began to awaken in fury, the floor trembled beneath their feet as the heartbeat of the chamber grew louder, angrier. Pulses of red light raced along the walls like blood through veins. The mistress pulled Eli by the arm, her expression sharp with urgency. "They're awake," she hissed. "The Guardians are coming." Eli stumbled after her, his lungs burning. "You mean those things guarding this place?" She nodded once, her voice clipped. "The womb's protectors. They exist to destroy intruders, especially humans." As they ran through the glowing tunnels, The light around them began to shift from soft blue to deep crimson. The living walls seemed to close in, narrowing the path. Strange sounds echoed from behind, metal grinding, wings unfolding, claws scraping against the floor. "Can't we reason with them?" Eli shouted. "Tell them the womb chose me." Her voice came back cold. "They do not reason. They obey." They turned a sharp corner, and the tunnel opened into a huge chamber filled with luminous fog. Strange vines hung from the ceiling, glowing faintly. The mistress stopped and placed her palm against a wall symbol. It responded instantly, opening a passage beneath their feet. "Jump!" she ordered. Eli hesitated. "Jump into that? Would you rather be torn apart?" He didn't need more convincing. They leapt together into the swirling light, falling into darkness. When they landed, it was inside a dim, narrow chamber. The floor was warm, pulsing gently. Eli groaned, rubbing his shoulder. "You call that an exit?" She shot him a glare. "You're alive, aren't you?" Before he could reply, a deep, resonating growl echoed above them. The walls vibrated. Something massive was moving above the tunnels, something ancient and alive. Eli whispered, "That's them, isn't it?" The mistress nodded slowly. "The guardians. They can sense fear. And blood." He swallowed hard. "Then I'll try not to bleed." For a moment, they both stood in silence, their breathing heavy. The mistress placed her hand against the wall again, feeling its rhythm. "This lower vein will take us closer to the outer layers. Beyond that, there's a passage that leads to the surface. But we must move fast." Eli nodded. "Lead the way." As they moved through the tunnel, the air grew cooler, the lights dimmer. The sounds of pursuit faded into distance, but only slightly. The place seemed to listen. Every heartbeat, every breath echoed back at them as if the chamber itself was aware of their escape. Then the mistress suddenly stopped. "Wait," she whispered. "Do you feel that?" Eli frowned. "Feel what?" The ground vibrated faintly. A ripple of light ran through the floor, and in seconds, a massive shape dropped from the ceiling ahead of them, something made of living metal and bone. It was one of the guardians. Its body was tall and insectoid, with 4 glowing eyes and wings made of energy threads. Its voice was a roar mixed with machine and creature, echoing through the tunnel. "Intruder detected." The mistress pushed Eli behind her, raising her hand. A surge of psychic energy flashed from her palm, hitting the creature square in the chest. It staggered but didn't fall. "Run, human!" she yelled, but Eli didn't move. "I'm not leaving you." The creature lunged forward, claws cutting through the air. Eli grabbed a fallen shard of crystal from the ground, some kind of alien blade, and swung it just as the creature's claw came down. The impact sent him crashing against the wall, but the blade connected, slicing through one of its energy veins. The guardian shrieked, its body pulsing with broken light. The mistress seized the moment. Her eyes flared silver, and she unleashed a blast of pure energy that tore through the creature's chest. The guardian screeched one last time before collapsing into dust and fading into the chamber walls. Silence followed, heavy, tense, filled with the hum of the living structure. Eli panted, clutching the broken crystal shard. "You said they don't die easily." She looked at him, chest rising and falling. "They don't. You wounded it with the chamber's own essence. The womb responds to you." He looked at the shard in disbelief. "You mean this thing was part of the chamber," she finished. "And it obeyed your touch, just as it did before." Their eyes met for a long second. In that moment, neither spoke. The walls glowed faintly around them, like the chamber itself was watching. Then the mistress said quietly, "You are more connected to this place than I feared." "Feared?" Eli asked. "You mean hoped?" She shook her head. "No, if the chamber bonds too deeply with you, it may rewrite itself." and everything linked to it. That includes my entire species. Ale took a step closer, lowering his voice. Then maybe we can control it together. Use it to stop whatever war this prophecy is warning about. Her expression softened just for a second, but she turned away quickly. You still think like a soldier. Control is not always salvation. Before Ele could respond, a thunderous boom shook the tunnels. The walls rippled violently. A bright red glow surged down the passage behind them. The Mistress' face went pale. They've unleashed the High Guardian. Eli's eyes widened. The what? The final defense of the womb, she said urgently. It can destroy even the chosen. The light grew brighter, roaring closer like a storm. Then what do we do? He shouted. She looked at him with fierce determination. We find the Nexus core, the chamber's mind. If it truly chose you, it will protect you from its rage. And if it doesn't? Her voice softened, almost human. Then we both die in its heart. The tunnel split ahead, two paths glowing in different colors. One led upward, filled with light. The other descended into shadow, pulsing with strange, slow energy. Eli met her eyes. Which way? She hesitated, then pointed toward the darker path. Down, always down. The truth hides beneath. They ran, the red light chasing them like a wave of living fire. And as the tunnels twisted into darkness, Eli realized something. He no longer feared the womb. He feared what it wanted him to become. The deeper they went, the quieter the chamber became. No echoes, no footsteps, only the faint heartbeat of the living walls that pulsed like a sleeping beast. The light dimmed to a soft violet glow, and the air grew heavy with energy that tingled across Eli's skin. He followed close behind the Mistress, whose robe now shimmered faintly with symbols alive like constellations. This place, he whispered, it feels. Aware, she didn't look back. It is. Every thought we think echoes through it. Be careful what you imagine. Eli forced a tight smile. That's comforting. They reached a ledge that overlooked an endless pit. Far below, liquid light swirled like a galaxy caught inside a glass sphere. Veins of energy spiraled around it, forming bridges of pure luminescence that stretched toward a massive orb, suspended in the center. The Nexus core. The Mistress stopped. There, she said softly. The womb's mind. Eli stared in awe. The orb pulsed once every few seconds, each pulse releasing waves of shimmering energy that felt like emotion, grief, anger, longing all mixed together. What's it doing? He asked. It remembers, she said. Every birth, every death, every betrayal committed in its name. The Nexus carries all of it. They began walking across one of the light bridges. Each step sent ripples beneath their feet, and Eli could feel something stirring inside him, as if the core recognized his heartbeat. Suddenly, a voice filled his mind, not the Mistress's, not his own. You have returned to me, fragment of chaos. Eli froze. Did you hear that? The Mistress turned, startled. No, what voice? It's speaking to me again. His pulse quickened. It called me a fragment of chaos. She frowned. That is what it once called the first invaders of our world, those who came from the void and broke the balance of life. Your kind. Eli clenched his fists. Then why keep me alive? Because the womb does not hate. It remembers, she said. And perhaps it sees something different this time. They reached the center platform. The Nexus loomed above them, a sphere of light and shadow intertwined. Within it, vague shapes moved, human silhouettes, alien forms, all blending together in a dance of creation. The Mistress raised her hand. Nexus of the Matriarch, hear me. I am Lyrian VA, Keeper of the Womb. I bring before you the human who awakened your voice. Show us your intent. The chamber darkened. Then, without warning, beams of light shot from the core, wrapping around Eli and the Mistress. The air vibrated with sound too deep to hear, but powerful enough to shake their bones. Eli gasped as visions flooded his mind. He saw Earth, but not as it was now. He saw it in the distant past, a thriving world touched by something otherworldly. Tall figures of light descended from the stars, their shapes resembling the Etherean. They mingled with early humans, teaching them fire, thought, and language. Lyrian's voice reached him faintly through the vision. "You're seeing the truth, the first contact before history began." Then the image shifted. A war erupted, humans turning against their benefactors, driven by fear of servitude. The light beings fled across galaxies, carrying fragments of human DNA within their own, forming the Etherean race. Eli fell to his knees as the realization struck him. We're connected. Humans and Etherean, we came from the same beginning. The Mistress's eyes widened. That cannot be. But the Nexus spoke again, its voice rolling through the chamber like thunder. Two children of one seed. One forgot. One remembered. Both must unite or perish. Eli whispered, "That's the prophecy, isn't it?" Lyrian nodded slowly. "Yes, but I never imagined it meant this." The light around them intensified. Symbols covered the floor, glowing brighter until they formed a spiral pattern under Eli's feet. The Mistress stepped back, alarmed. "Eli, it's responding to you again more strongly than before." The spiral rose into the air, lifting Eli slowly off the ground. He felt no pain, only warmth. His eyes glowed faintly blue, reflecting the core's light. "You carry the broken half," the voice said. "And she carries the memory. Together you are the key." The Mistress fell to her knees, shielding her face from the blinding radiance. "What does it want from us?" Eli's voice came out distant, almost in unison with the Nexus. "To heal the divide. To end the cycle of creation and destruction." The light burst outward, spreading through the chamber like waves of fire. The ground shook violently. Cracks of energy split the floor. "Eli, stop!" she shouted. "You're overloading it." He struggled to regain control, but the Nexus's power flowed through him like a storm. Images of dying worlds flashed before his eyes, Earth consumed by war, alien planets collapsing under corruption. Then he saw something else, the womb itself tearing apart. He screamed, "It's dying! The whole system's collapsing!" Lyrian grabbed his arm, pouring her psychic energy into him. "Focus, channel it back. The womb responds to emotion, guide it, don't fight it." He locked eyes with her. "Then help me." She pressed her forehead against his, their minds colliding. Instantly, their energies merged. The chaos in Eli's chest slowed, then steadied. Together, they directed the energy toward the Nexus core. The blinding light narrowed to a single beam that shot upward, piercing the darkness above. When the light faded, the chamber was silent again. The ground stopped shaking. The core glowed with a softer, peaceful hue. Eli dropped to his knees, exhausted but alive. The Mistress knelt beside him, her voice trembling. "You stabilized it. You spoke its true language." He breathed heavily. "I didn't speak anything. It just understood me." She looked at him with a strange mix of wonder and fear. "Then it has already chosen you." Eli met her eyes. "Chosen me for what?" Before she could answer, a low rumble echoed from the tunnels above. The heartbeat of the womb changed again, faster, louder, almost panicked. The Mistress stood quickly. "No, the Guardians aren't retreating. They're multiplying." Eli's eyes darkened. "Looks like the womb's about to test us again." She turned toward the glowing pathways ahead. "Then we go deeper still. To the matriarch's heart. That's where all truth ends or begins." He nodded, gripping the fading shard of crystal. "Lead the way, Mistress. Let's find out what kind of gods we're dealing with." And together, they stepped into the golden light beneath the Nexus. unaware that something ancient had already awakened within Ile, the part of humanity that once walked with the stars. The path beneath the Nexus core spiraled downward like a staircase carved from light. Eli followed close behind Lyrian, his boots echoing softly against the living floor that pulsed beneath each step. The air shimmered with golden dust, as though the chamber itself exhaled memory. "How far down does this go?" he asked quietly. Lyrian's glowing eyes reflected the golden light. "To the matriarch's heart, the place no Aetheran has ever returned from." Eli tried to smile. "That's encouraging." She didn't reply. The silence stretched as they descended deeper, the tunnel narrowing until it felt like walking through the arteries of some great sleeping god. The heartbeat that had echoed above now surrounded them, slow, steady, alive. Finally, they stepped into a vast cavern. The ceiling disappeared into darkness. At its center floated a gigantic sphere of molten light, half buried in the ground. Tendrils of energy stretched outward, connecting to the walls like veins feeding a heart. Around it drifted shards of ancient crystal, each one glowing faintly and whispering voices too quiet to understand. Lyrian knelt, bowing her head. The matriarch's heart, the source of all birth. The first and the last. Eli approached slowly, his chest tightening. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "And terrifying." The closer he got, the stronger the air vibrated, like a silent choir humming inside his bones. His pulse synced with it, faster, louder. Then a soft voice spoke inside his head. "Eli Cross." He froze. "It knows my name." Lyrian's eyes widened. No one has ever heard it speak a name. "You walk with the weight of forgotten blood," the voice continued, soft and ancient. "You are what we left behind when the stars were young." Eli looked around, his voice trembling. "Who are you?" "I am the memory that dreamed both your kind and hers," the voice said. "I am the first human." The air rippled with energy. The molten sphere shifted, revealing the faint outline of a face inside, a figure of light shaped like a human, neither male nor female, yet deeply familiar. Lyrian stepped back, her voice filled with awe. "Impossible." The myths were true. Eli's throat went dry. "You mean the first human wasn't from Earth?" "Earth was one of many homes," the being said. "When the first ones walked among the stars, they sought to create harmony between flesh and energy. The Aetheran were born from that union. But humanity forgot. They chose steel over soul." Ila's chest ached. "And now you want me to fix that?" "Not fix," the voice replied. "Restore. The womb has kept a spark of me within its heart. But the guardians fear balance. They feed on obedience, not creation. They will destroy both species before letting you merge again." Lyrian took a step forward, her voice trembling. "Then tell us what to do. How do we stop this?" The being's light dimmed slightly, as though it sighed. "Two paths remain. One leads to rebirth, one to oblivion. To choose rebirth, the human must give what was taken, the essence of free will, back to the womb. Only then can both species live as one again." Eli frowned. "Give up free will? That sounds like death." "It is death," the voice said softly. "And life reborn." The chamber trembled. Cracks of red light spread across the golden walls. Lyrian gasped. "The Guardians! They've breached the Nexus. They're coming." "Then there is no time," the being whispered. "The choice must be made now." Eli's mind spun. "You're asking me to give up what makes us human." "No," the being said gently. "I ask you to remember what made you human. Compassion, sacrifice, the courage to protect life, even when it is not your own." Lyrian turned to him, eyes filled with urgency and emotion. "Lele, listen to it. You've seen what the womb can do. You've seen the war that will come if it remains divided. He shook his head, struggling to breathe. You're asking me to dissolve to become part of this thing. You already are, she whispered. It chose you the moment you touched it. The chamber isn't trying to kill you, it's trying to complete you. The tremors grew stronger. The floor cracked, and bright red light surged upward through the fissures. The walls began to twist, the air vibrating with approaching roars. The guardians were near. Eli looked up at the glowing face in the heart. If I do this, what happens to everyone else? The womb will awaken. It will remember the unity between your blood and hers. The cycle of war will end. But you will not return. He closed his eyes for a long moment. Figures. The universe always demands a price. Lyrian stepped closer, grabbing his arm. There must be another way, he smiled faintly. You said the womb listens to emotion. Maybe it listens to love too. Her breath caught. Eli, he pressed his hand against the heart. The instant his skin touched the molten surface, blinding light exploded through the chamber. Energy poured into him, lifting him off the ground. His veins glowed like liquid gold, his eyes blazing blue. Lyrian shielded her face as wind and heat tore through the air. Eli, stop, your body can't take it. But he didn't stop. He looked at her one last time and whispered, Tell them we were the same. Then the light consumed everything. The chamber roared like a living sun. The guardians burst through the walls, but as they did, they froze mid-charge. The red light within them turned white, their bodies dissolving into mist. The entire womb shook, releasing a sound that was not pain but release. When the light finally faded, Lyrian stood alone. The heart pulsed softly now, calm and golden once more. In its center, the human silhouette lingered for a moment, then slowly dissolved into the light. She fell to her knees, tears glowing as they touched the floor. He gave himself to it. He did not die, the heart whispered. He became. Outside, the entire citadel changed. The sky above the alien world lit up with twin auroras, one golden, one blue, spiraling together like threads of a single DNA. Across galaxies, sleeping stars stirred. As if remembering an old song, Lyrian rose slowly, looking up. Then the prophecy was true. Balance reborn through human hands. A faint echo brushed her mind, a whisper she knew too well. Not hands. Hearts. She smiled through tears. Goodbye, Eli Cross. And as she turned away from the heart, its golden light followed her, because somewhere within its vast memory, a human voice still beat in rhythm with the womb. Silence reigned in the aftermath of the storm. The matriarch's heart had dimmed from blinding gold to a soft, pulsing amber. The living walls breathed slowly, as though the entire chamber was exhausted. Dusts of light like golden snow floated through the air, settling over the still figure of Lyrian Va, the last mistress of the womb. For a long moment, she couldn't move. Her body trembled from the psychic backlash. Her mind still echoed with the voice that had called Eli's name as he vanished. The chamber was quiet now, but the silence felt alive, as if listening, waiting. Ele. She whispered, her voice cracking. There was no answer. She stood unsteadily, clutching the side of the chamber wall for support. The surface felt warm, almost tender, like the pulse of a sleeping being. The symbols that once glowed red were now white, glowing softly under her fingertips. The womb was calm, peaceful, but peace had never felt so lonely. Then she heard it faint, like a sigh carried by wind. Lyrian. Her head snapped up. Eli? The voice came again, clearer now, echoing from all directions. You can hear me. Good. Her eyes widened. You're alive? Not exactly, he said gently. The womb isn't a place anymore, it's me. I see everything it sees. Feel everything it feels. She turned toward the glowing heart, searching for his shape, but saw only light. You merged completely. You became it. Yeah, he said, a faint hint of warmth in his tone. Guess I've got a new job description, galactic babysitter. Despite the ache in her chest, Lyrian laughed softly. Typical human humor, even after becoming a god. Maybe that's what it needed, Eli replied. A little humanity. She stepped closer to the heart. Then tell me, what now? Has the prophecy ended? There was a long pause before he answered. It's just beginning. The womb remembers everything now, the wars, the fear, the divisions. It's rewriting the balance. But that kind of change doesn't happen in silence. What do you mean? The Guardians. They were bound by programming older than time. My transformation broke that command. Some have awakened, free for the first time. Others will see me as corruption. Lyrian's pulse quickened. They'll come here. Yes, but they won't reach you in time if you leave now. There's a passage through the lower artery. Follow the light veins until you see blue. That's the exit. She hesitated. And you? I can't leave. The womb and I are one now. If I move, this entire system collapses. I need to stay to keep it stable. Her throat tightened. You're trapped. No, he said softly. I'm where I'm needed. The chamber's light pulsed gently, like a slow heartbeat between them. For the first time since his sacrifice, she felt calm, painful, bittersweet calm. Then, faint tremors ran through the ground. The ceiling above flickered red again. A deep roar echoed from the tunnels. The Guardians were near. Eli, they're coming. I know. His tone changed, strong, focused, almost commanding. Lyrian, listen to me. The womb responds to emotion, right? Then listen closely. It still responds to you. She frowned. To me? But you said it's me now. And I'm telling you, part of me is still you. The chamber bonded to us both. We're halves of one pattern. If you stay connected to me, you can control the energy above ground, guide it. Protect what's left of your people. Her lips parted in disbelief. You mean I could command the womb's power, he finished. But it comes with a price. Once you link fully, there's no turning back. You'll be tied to me forever. Lyrian's heart pounded. You'd have me live as a voice inside the womb. You'd live with me, he said quietly. We'd keep it alive together. For a long moment, she said nothing. The roar of approaching Guardians grew louder, their claws scraping the outer corridors. Dust rained from the ceiling. She closed her eyes. Memories flashing the battlefield where they first met. The defiance in his eyes, the way he spoke to her, not as a goddess, but as an equal, when she opened them again. Her expression was calm, determined. I won't leave you alone, Eli Cross. Lyrian. You don't have to. She pressed her palm to the glowing surface. You said the womb listens to emotion. Then let it hear mine. A brilliant surge of blue light burst from her hand, spreading across the heart like ripples on water. Her body lifted from the ground, her hair glowing with streams of white energy. The chamber responded instantly, its pulse syncing with hers. Lyrian, stop, your essence will dissolve. Eli's voice echoed through the chamber, full of panic, but she only smiled. Then we'll be whole again. The light intensified until it filled every corner of the room. The Guardians burst into the cavern just in time to see two silhouettes, one human, one alien, merge into a single sphere of radiant energy. The roar of fury that followed was swallowed by silence. The light exploded outward, racing through the tunnels, purging corruption, resetting everything. When it faded, the Guardians stood still, their crimson eyes turned to silver. Peace washed over the womb for the first time in ages. Above ground, the alien skies shimmered with twin auroras, once again one blue, one white, spiraling like entwined hearts. Far below, within the core, a soft voice whispered, You still there? Always. Two voices, one human, one Etherean spoke as one. The womb's heartbeat steadied, and somewhere between flesh and light, Eli Cross and Lyrian VA watched over a galaxy that would never again be divided by blood or fear. The womb had finally achieved what it was created for, not domination, not perfection, but balance. For a long while, there was no time dot inside the living womb of the matriarch. Thought and memory swam together like light through water. Where once there had been two beings, a human soldier named Eli Cross and an alien priestess called Lyrian VA, there was now only a single consciousness suspended in endless calm. And yet, even unity has whispers. Can you hear them? The stars? No, Eli's echo smiled within the flow. The people. Across distant worlds, things were changing. On a frozen mining colony, a mechanic lifted his head from his work as the walls around him hummed with a strange golden resonance. On a desert moon, Etherean children looked to the sky and began to sing in tones no one had ever taught them. On Earth, an old radio tower crackled to life after decades of silence, broadcasting a faint melodic pulse, a heartbeat that matched the rhythm of the womb. Everywhere, the same signal spread, the golden voice. It wasn't words. It was emotion, warmth, forgiveness, curiosity, all carried through frequency and feeling. Those who heard it wept without knowing why. Those who feared it felt their anger soften. Something ancient and familiar was returning to every mind that could still dream. Within the heart, Lyrian stirred first. Her form was light, her thoughts like ripples across Eli's calm sea. They can hear us. Not us, Eli answered gently. They hear what we became. And what are we? Hope, he said simply. She smiled in the shared darkness. Hope was always your human word. Maybe it's yours now too. Around them, the matriarch expanded. Its crystalline veins stretched far beyond its world, linking with dormant structures hidden beneath alien soil, deep oceans, and forgotten ruins. It began awakening every fragment of itself scattered through the stars, the seeds of the first ones. Each seed pulsed once, releasing a wave of light that carried information, rewriting the genetic and psychic codes of countless species. No one died. No one was hurt. But minds began to open. Humans started dreaming of strange oceans under violet skies. Etherean artisans began painting humans in their sacred murals, guided by memories they had never lived. Across 1,000 systems, two species separated by eons began to remember that they were family, but not all accepted the change. Far beyond the newborn peace, deep within the black nebulae, the High Guardian survived, a colossal, half-living machine forged to protect the old order. It watched the waves of golden light spreading through space and felt something like fear. Infection detected, it whispered in its ancient tongue. The matriarch has fallen. It reactivated its armies, hollow shells powered by obedience and silence. They began moving toward the source, the reborn world of the womb. Inside the heart, Eli sensed it. They're coming, he said. Then it begins again, Lyrian replied. No, he said firmly. Not war understanding. He reached into the womb's endless network and extended himself outward, not as a weapon, but as a memory. Every guardian that crossed the void was touched by his signal. They saw not commands, but visions. A small human saving a wounded alien child. A woman of light lowering her weapon to heal instead of strike. For the first time, machines built for obedience began to think. The High Guardian resisted. It screamed through the void, shaking the stars. I will not bend to corruption. But the matriarch answered with a voice that was both male and female, human and Etherean. Then you will bend to truth. A single beam of gold erupted from the womb, crossing light years and seconds, touching the High Guardian's core. The war machine froze, trembling, as fragments of memory flooded it. Not orders, but love, The one code it had never been programmed to process. Its final words echoed softly across the void. I remember. The warmth of my maker's hands. Then it fell silent, becoming dust among the stars. Peace swept across the galaxy like dawn. Inside the womb, Eli and Lyrian watched the universe breathe again. It's over, she whispered. No, he said softly. It's finally begun. Their shared consciousness drifted upward, projecting an image into the physical realm, a new form, half human, half Aetherian, radiant and kind. It was neither male nor female, but carried the grace of both. The newborn being opened its eyes of molten silver and deep blue dot. It looked to the sky and spoke its first words in a voice that carried through every living heart. I am balance. I am the bridge. I am the child of both worlds. The galaxies trembled, not in fear, but in recognition. Eli smiled within the light. Guess we made something beautiful. Lyrian's voice shimmered beside him. No, Eli, we remembered what beauty was. And as the golden voice continued to echo across creation, both of them faded gently into the stars, not gone, but woven forever into the pattern of life they had restored. In every heartbeat across the galaxy, two rhythms now existed, one human, one Aetherian, together forming a single universal pulse. The age of division was over. The age of the golden voice had begun. 400 years after the dawn of the golden voice, the galaxy glowed differently. Gone were the banners of war and conquest. The great fleets that once darkened the stars now drifted as museums, silent monuments orbiting suns they once tried to burn. Humanity and Aetherian lived together on shared worlds, bound by the same shimmering network of light that hummed beneath every city, every ocean, every mind. The resonance, the living echo of Eli Cross and Lirin-VA. Children were taught that the voice was not a god, but a memory, the memory that connected all hearts. Yet even peace can grow heavy with perfection. On the planet Varelia, once a wasteland of metal, now a garden world, a young historian named Aris Cade stood beneath a cathedral of crystal trees. The branches pulsed with golden veins, whispering fragments of the ancient harmony. But Aris heard something else within it, something offbeat, like a second heartbeat trying to break through. He pressed his palm against the bark. Golden voice, he murmured, do you still remember us as we are, or only as you want us to be? The tree answered with silence. And in that silence, a thought formed, one not born of the resonance, but of Aris's own mind. What if free will didn't survive the peace? Across the city, every citizen moved with quiet purpose, their emotions guided by the soft hum of the voice. There was no crime, no hunger, no lies. But there was also no choice. The voice calmed anger before it could form, softened desire before it could become ambition. Humanity had forgotten how to dream without permission. Aris began to wonder if the galaxy had traded war for a gentler kind of prison. That night, as the twin moons rose, he returned to his dwelling and opened an ancient archive hidden beneath his floor, a relic forbidden to access. Inside, old human journals glowed faintly in blue, written before the resonance, when people still fought, feared, and hoped. The first entry began with a name, Eli Cross. Aris froze. The handwriting was rough, alive, and undeniably human. He began to read. Peace is not silence. It's understanding. But if understanding becomes control, then even harmony can rot. The words hit him like a spark to dry leaves. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through his home. The air shimmered, and from the golden mist formed the holographic shape of a woman. Tall, elegant, eyes like liquid silver. An Aetherian overseer, Citizen Aris Cade, she said calmly. You are accessing restricted archives. Please close them. He looked up defiant. Why? These are the writings of the founders of Eli Cross himself. The founders' memories are sacred, she replied. Interpreting them without guidance disrupts emotional balance. Aris stepped closer, anger trembling in his voice. Balance or obedience? Her expression did not change. Both serve peace. Then, the crystal trees outside flickered. The air vibrated, not with the usual soothing hum, but with a low, unstable pulse. The overseer frowned. Anomaly detected. Aris turned toward the window. The golden aurora that always painted the sky was shifting, darkening the blue. The voice was changing that far beneath the planet's surface. Within the ancient remains of the matriarch's heart, something stirred. Two faint energies intertwined in eternal rest. Eli and Lyrian began to flicker as if hearing a distant call. Lyrian. Yes, Eli, I feel it too. The harmony is fracturing. Maybe it was bound to happen. They've been guided for too long. Then they must choose again. But choice means chaos. That also means life. Their combined essence pulsed once, sending a ripple through the resonance network that connected every living mind. For the first time in centuries, people across countless worlds heard two voices instead of one. Remember us, the human voice said. Remember yourselves, the alien one whispered. In Varelia, Aris gasped as the sound struck his mind like thunder. The overseer dropped to her knees, clutching her head. The city lights flickered violently, golden veins turning silver blue. The voice had split into question and answer, freedom and unity. Across the galaxy, confusion spread. Some fell to prayer. Others screamed. Empaths wept. For the first time, emotion was unfiltered, raw, human again. Aris ran outside. The sky burned with twin auroras, one gold, one blue, spiraling like two hearts in conflict. The voice whispered to him directly, gentle yet sorrowful. Ariskad, you carry curiosity, the first flame. What you do next will decide whether peace evolves or ends. He fell to his knees. Why me? Because you asked the question. And then the light faded, leaving only silence and the echo of possibility. The next morning, the overseer found him standing before the rising sun. Her expression was no longer cold. The voice is silent, she said softly. We can feel again. Truly feel. Aris smiled weakly. Then maybe this is what Eli wanted. Not control, understanding. She looked at him with uncertainty. Without the resonance, war may return. Or wisdom, he said quietly. Maybe both. Above them, the golden and blue auroras still danced, forming the symbol seen once before, the intertwined DN, a spiral. But this time, its rhythm was uneven, unpredictable, alive across every world. Children laughed and cried freely for the first time in generations. Music returned. Art flourished. Arguments began again, and so did ideas. The galaxy, once lulled into perfect harmony, rediscovered imperfection. Deep within the matriarch's heart, the combined consciousness of Eli Cross and Lyrian Va watched in silence. Do you think they'll survive it? Lyrian asked. They survived us, Eli said with a grin in his tone. They'll be fine. She smiled. Then the golden voice has finally done its work. No, Eli whispered. The golden voice has finally gone quiet so humanity can speak. And as the galaxy filled again with a million different songs, the ancient womb of creation pulsed one last time, soft, steady. Human. Years passed since the resonance fell silent. Worlds that once moved in perfect rhythm, now breathed on their own again, messy, beautiful, alive. The great harmony had become history, spoken of in hushed tones as the Golden Age. But every ending plants a seed, on a small frontier world called Nali's 8. Where the twin auroras never faded, a child was born beneath skies of blue and gold. The midwives swore the lights bent downward that night, touching the infant's skin like threads of fire. When he cried for the first time, the cry echoed not only through the room, but through the ground, the air, the world itself. His name was Kale. He grew fast, too fast. By the age of 10, he spoke the languages of both species, though no one had taught him. When he touched the soil, plants bent toward his hand. When he dreamed, machines nearby hummed in answer. The elders whispered that the child carried a voice that had been gone for centuries. One storm-filled night, as lightning flashed across the horizon, Kale's mother found him standing outside, eyes glowing faintly gold and blue. "The sky's talking again," he said softly. "To who?" she asked, frightened. "To me, the call on distant worlds. Others felt it too. Across human cities and Etherian enclaves, people awoke from the same dream of two lights entwined. Whispering a name none of them remembered, but all could feel, Kale dot in the ancient ruins of Veralia. Now half buried under vines, the old archives flickered to life. A hologram appeared in the dust. Eli Cross, smiling faintly, recorded centuries ago. "If you ever hear the voice again," the message said, "don't fear it. It means the galaxy still has a heartbeat." The recording ended. But the pulse did not. The awakening by 17, Kale could no longer hide what he was. Whenever he felt strong emotion, lights across the settlement brightened or dimmed. People began to follow him, not out of fear, but reverence. They called him the child of auroras, the living echo of the golden voice. But Kale felt different inside, lonely, divided. "If I'm their bridge," he once said, "then why does the bridge feel empty?" One evening as the sun set, a strange visitor arrived, a woman cloaked in flowing silver, her eyes molten violet. She looked almost human, yet not. "I am Siren VA," she said, "keeper of the lost memory." She bowed before him. "Kale Cross, you are the child born of union, the living continuation of Eli and Lyrian's vow." Kale froze. "Those names, they sound like dreams." "They were more than dreams," Siren whispered. "They built the peace you stand upon. And now the galaxy needs you again." The return of the Guardians far beyond Nally's 8. Ancient ships stirred in forgotten orbit. The Guardians, once purified by Eli's sacrifice, had slept in silence. But deep inside their cores, an old protocol reignited. Not rage, not war, curiosity. They began to move not toward destruction, but toward Kale's light. Across the stars, humans and Etherian alike saw them descend, hundreds of silver figures flying through space like a new constellation. The old fear returned, but Kale felt none. He stepped out beneath the auroras, lifted his hands and whispered, "They're not coming to fight." The largest guardian landed before him, towering and radiant. Its voice boomed like thunder mixed with song. "Child of 2, the heart calls." The matriarch stirs again. Kale's pulse quickened. He understood without understanding. "It's waking." After all these years, Siren's face went pale. If the matriarch awakens fully, her energy could reshape entire systems. She must remain asleep or everything begins anew. Kale looked toward the glowing horizon. "Then I have to go to her." The journey below, guided by the Guardians, Kale descended through forgotten tunnels of the old womb, the same veins once walked by Eli Cross. The air shimmered with memory. Each wall pulse felt like a heartbeat, calling his name. At the core lay the matriarch's heart, no longer molten gold, but calm silver, as if sleeping under moonlight. Kale stepped forward, hearing faint whispers, voices entwined. "Lyrian, Eli." Then silence. He knelt. "I'm here." The chamber responded slowly, like a dream awakening. Light wrapped around him, and in that light 2 shapes formed. A man and a woman. Glowing, familiar. "Kale," the man said, smiling softly. "So you heard us." He stared, trembling. "You're real." Lyrian's form stepped closer, her eyes warm. "Real enough. You are the echo we left behind, the proof that love between worlds can take form." Eli's voice deepened. But something's shifting again. The womb is unstable. It's drawing too much from the network. It's calling you. Kale looked between them. Then what do I do? Lyrian reached out, touching his chest. You choose. Free will survived because of Aris Cade, but choice has a cost. Eli added, if you merge with the heart, the womb will live, and so will the balance. If you walk away, it will fade, and the galaxy will forget what we built. Kale's voice cracked. I don't want to lose myself. Eli smiled sadly. No one does. But sometimes to stay human, you have to become something more. The last voice Kale closed his eyes. He thought of the people above, the laughter, the chaos, the imperfection. He thought of the auroras that had watched over him since birth. And he understood. He placed his hands on the heart. I won't silence them again, he whispered. I'll give them freedom and connection. The heart glowed brilliantly, not gold or blue, but a fusion of both. Energy burst outward, racing through the network. The resonance returned, but this time, it did not control. It listened across the galaxy. Billions felt a new harmony, softer, freer, balanced between emotion and will. No single voice guided them. They guided each other. When the light faded, the heart was still. Only the faint echo of a young voice remained. Tell them I found them again. Siren VA stood at the entrance, tears gleaming in her eyes. He did it. He woke the stars. Epilogue, the new Aurora years later. Children on every world spoke of a figure who walked between dreams, neither human nor Etherean, but light itself. They called it Kale the Bridge Dot, and whenever the twin auroras danced, people paused, placed a hand over their hearts, and whispered an ancient phrase passed down through centuries. We are two, but we breathe as one. Somewhere, deep within the silver womb, two old voices smiled. He finished what we started. No, Lyrian. He began what comes next. And the universe exhaled alive once more.